So I will first start by making a template using a regular bead necklace template. You can use the tiny Pandora one. This is one of mine. I probably should put some of them downloadable on the website, hopefully sometime soon. Anyway, so you first cut your template and then you put it on your a blank. You know that I use this little bowl type of thing that I got from Goodwill. I found one on Amazon, but it's like $20. Honestly, I would pay for it knowing how good it is. Anyway, when you want to do a broken bead necklace, calculate the distance that will be between your connecting findings. So here I know about how big the rings that will jut out from the two pieces plus the connector ring will measure, and that's where I make the cut. And then of course trim it nicely, and this is valid for pretty much any type of bead necklace template you have. You can cut it in how many pieces you want. Just as I said, calculate what would be the distance that would be brought by the connecting findings. Then to decorate it, I will use the Wild Flights mold from BestFlexibleMolds, and I'm not going to show you the whole thing, just how to use the mold. The mold is absolutely gorgeous. It has all these tiny things. I decided to go with the trumpet vines and the dragonflies. It has dragonflies, trumpet vine leaves and flowers, and also hummingbirds. But this is how you make your molds, and then you apply them on the front, and we'll see in a minute how they look like. Anyway, once you bake it, you do your backing, and you don't need to texture it. I will do that with a little blackberry, because the purpose of this tutorial is not so much about how to decorate the front of your necklace. On that one you can do whatever you want, and I will do another tutorial detailing on how to do an intricate type of decoration like this with little molds and even with little strings, because somebody requested that. But this will be the subject of a future tutorial. On this one we are working especially on the antiquing with the artisan powders. So I placed the backing, that is also the front and the back were on the thickest setting. So all I do is to nicely trim. So essentially you do the front, you apply whatever decorations you want on the front, you bake for 20 minutes, then you apply the backing and you bake for another half an hour. To nicely smooth the edges, as usual I use alcohol, and then I will be using my raspberry bead that I still find the best hammered metal look of all. And on all of this I used scrap clay, in which I mixed a little bit of black and a little bit of graphite pearl. Anyway, so this is the raspberry bead, and you can see that it leaves a nice hammered like looks. And after I baked, let's get to the antiquing part. If you see, I have all these artisan powders. I chose the ivory, the Marquise blue, the Trianon patina, and the French sage. I've shown you before how to apply these artisan powders on raw clay. The thing is that you can apply them on baked clay as well, only that you'll have to kind of set them, because if on raw clay they get fairly set with baking, on baked clay you'll have to set them, and you do that either by using something like PYM2 or water-based Minwax spray. Anyway, let me show you now what's the big thing about all these artisan powders, patinas. You can use also water on them. And the thing is that depending on the background you set them on, they will change colors. Also using water when applying them. You see that I sprayed water on them. Will make them also go better in the recesses and give a much better patina look. Now, why use these instead of the chalk pastels or the primary elements, pigments, or whatever? Because these are exceptionally fine. It would be like the difference between a flour and table salt compared to other powders. You can also layer them one on top of the other and create even more effects. These are practically powders and waxes that are normally used in scrapbooking, but they work absolutely gorgeous on polymer clay. And this is what I wanted to show you, how you can antique a piece of baked polymer clay. Frank Garcia shows how to do all this antiquing on they have the special little resin pieces that are all, you know, molded and stuff. And this is how I got the idea about using them on baked polymer clay as well. And they work, again, they work wonders, only that they need to be sealed. You can remove any excess with either a moistened paper towel or with a baby wipe. And you see that you once it is watered, it looks darker, but once it dries out, it will lighten up. I will not want them to be this aged, so you'll see at one point I will place some of the wax on top of it to remove some of the powder, and I'll explain to you why when we get to the wax. Anyway, now I'm going to add a little bit of ivory on top of the blues. You saw I added blues, the light blue, then the darker blue, the more turquoise-ish blue, then a little bit of French sage, and now I'm adding ivory until I get the perfect mix that looks like something very aged, very antique-y, very vintagey, however you want to call it. I love things like this. And the Wild Flight's Best Flexible Molds set is absolutely perfect for something like this, because all those little molds are very, very tiny, so you can make very, very detailed work. And see, I keep layering the colors. And there is a little bit of transparency depending on how thick you apply your layers. What I do, I first apply the powder, then I will spray with a little bit of water to make it a little bit more washed in certain areas. And then I keep working until I am happy with the look of it. Yes, I do fuss a lot on it, and it's so much fun to play with it. Anyway, once I am completely satisfied with the look of the patina that will be under the wax, now remember, I will do a little bit of wax on certain areas. And now here, honestly, I did blunder a little bit. This should have been done before I started antiquing the front. And that is to put the connector rings, but it's okay. It's just that I'll have some powder on my hand when handling the piece. So just make little blobs of clay and put them on one end, on the end that opens of your jump rings, and then just place it with some bacon bond. Make sure you trim that area that's in the ring, because if you have a connector ring, you want it to be able to go through the opening. But even if you leave too much clay, remember that you can always shave some off with a lot of care and attention using your X-Acto blade. But I'm ensuring that those little blobs of clay secure the connector rings properly. So as I said, once I'm happy with everything, I am going to bake it. That is my little signature cane slice. So now it is baked. I will first apply a little bit of the Bronze Age wax on the areas that do not have any molded elements. And as you can see, it lifts a little bit of the powder, but not entirely. You can use a soft bristle brush to apply it. Do not use a hard bristle brush because, just trust me, it doesn't do the work right and it will goop. And I'm applying also a little bit of vintage silk of the Opal Magic on top of the bronze to give it a little bit of shimmer. And once I do that, I will let the wax harden a little bit. That is the beauty about these waxes, is that they only need about 10 to 15 minutes to harden enough to be buffed. But I'm not going to buff them. I am going to first let them harden and then apply some PYM2. And this is how it looks with the PYM2. And then you can apply the wax on top of the PYM2 just fine. These waxes are permanent. That means that once they harden in place, you cannot rub them off. I mean, I even tried the power buffing. It's true only about after half an hour, so probably if you let them be for 24 hours, you should be able to do some power buffing as well. But you don't really need to, because soft cotton cloth with a few, just a minute of rubbing makes it look gorgeous. I use the amethyst on the trumpet vine flowers, and now I'm using the red amber pretty much on the rest, and that will give it a very rich copperish color. It's more orange than the copper itself. I'm still waiting for the rich copper to come in the mail. I don't know when that will arrive, so for now I'm using the amber red. But you see how it already gives an absolutely gorgeous look, antique look. I'm telling you, I cannot be more thrilled. I don't think I've been this thrilled with a product in a long time. And again, you can use a paintbrush to push the wax deeper. On the back, I will only use the Bronze Age. I'm not going to use any kind of powder. And because I'm only using the wax, I don't need to seal it. So the wax does not need sealing. Once it hardens, it's absolutely and totally permanent. So I will be playing with it for a little bit longer just to get various effects. Now, what I wanted to tell you about these waxes, in a very thin coating, most of them, the ones that are not purely metallic, are semi-opaque. So you can layer them one on top of the other. Not only that, but depending on the color of the background that you're putting them on, you will get different colors and different effects. So you see, I just applied some over and over. I applied some vintage silk over some of that amber red, and I am applying more on top of the Bronze Age until I am completely satisfied with the antique look. And now look how the magic happens. See, it looks kind of dull, but once you start buffing, And as I said, you only need a very soft cotton cloth to get an absolutely gorgeous metallic glossy shine. You can see how beautiful they are. And I will make more projects and more detailed. This is pretty much more of a review on the artisan powders and the waxes in the Metallique and Opal Magic line. But I just had to bring this to you. You can find them at PolyClay Play. Trish managed to bring them in at half the price that you can find them on Amazon. And again, look at all that beauty. It's fabulous. And all I have to do now is to just place the connector rings and then place some pieces of chain from the ends and the fastening. This is the hardest thing, and I am actually going to do it off camera because you don't want to assist to me fighting my hands and these pieces and all that. It's a permanent. It took me almost as long as it took me to make the whole necklace. But anyway, this is how using these artisan powders and waxes looks like. Happy claying.